It's Tuesday, it's September 19th, 2023. I was watching President Biden is in New York City addressing the UN at the General Assembly. Um, I'm noticing that he's standing before marble and the color of the marble, which is a very symbolic marble in my family. Um, or in my patriarchy within the family. So that's important. And I'm listening. Two things happened today. One is he's there, and he's addressing the UN. Um, and then there's this um, news story in the fiction saying that New York City Council is trying to remove the statues of Christopher Columbus, um, and because of some slave owner, whichever. Um, this is problematic. This is concerning, especially with this migrant crisis that's going on in New York, um, and being stuck here, knowing that I'm having these health issues and not knowing, like in tribal and family feud and feudality and the tribes and whatever else is congregating in New York City and surrounding boroughs. Um, it feels chaotic, which I like a little more construct and structure. Um, and the fact that I wouldn't even know to whom to address in order to block the city, New York City, and the mayor, Eric Adams' administration from touching these statutes, or even like how to involve. Um, and then on a different news program on News Nation, they wrote, they addressed the news desk, which is multi-gendered, multicultural. I don't know the right words that the humans use at multi-level. Um, but they say, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? And essentially everyone at that desk said never. And I'm like, that is a red flag for me. I mean, there's so many layers of problems that I've experienced. And this is just this, it's like this heart stopping effect. It is just, I mean, it's critical infrastructure that's being damaged. Then they had on this piece, um, about this theoretical Michael in this office, and they had up the American and the Canadian flag, and Michael comes ice skating across, and he's got Bauer on his helmet. Now, the Queen's Library for this month, their book club, not an Oprah book club, it's the Queen's Library book club. Their suggestion, and they're about to end. She's retiring. Um, but one of the last selections is um, The Lady in Gold, which speaks of something in the past regarding the Bauer and the Hungarian empires. Um, I was looking at some of the photos, trying to read through it, but I only discovered it because it was brought to my attention by some local something that's some local effort that's going on, however that happens. So again, so this is what it looks like. It came through on Channel 7 News about, and it has a 1625. And again, that's like an AFBE.
A New York City Council committee will hold a public hearing today on legislation that would remove some monuments across the city. That bill would require the Public Design Commission to create plans to remove works of art from city property that depicts a person who owned slaves, benefited directly from slavery, or committed crimes against indigenous people. This means monuments of George Washington and Christopher Columbus could be at risk.
Tonight, musicians of the New
George Washington and Christopher Columbus. George Washington is the number one dollar in monetary system with patriarchy on file, Federal Reserve note on file with the US Treasury. How could they possibly in New York City remove the statues of George Washington? I mean, anarchy, I mean, there's a whole lot of words that come to mind. But how does one block this? And I mean, and again, I if you translate my birth star into letters, it translates to HCGH. If I elongate it, it's HCAIGH. And then I had an HC child in the new millennia at a very specific date. Which in like, I don't know, cosmetology, astrological, I don't know the correct words for whatever, but it's significant and it's important. So I'm going to pause this for a second, and then I'm going to go back to what the desk said this morning about the Roman Empire, and that, like, they're, in their words, I'm just going to let them voice it, and then I'm going to go back to President Joe Biden addressing the UN, or at least what they allow on the public television, like as a recap later in the day. I don't know how you see the live broadcast. I was in the car today. They did not put it on the radio on the 770 or on the 1130. So I don't know where else to find it. But I'm going to pause this for a second. So this show is called Morning in America, and it's E287, which aired 9/19/2023.
Because then it goes on to say that women actually, we're thinking about.
It says, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
We're thinking about Taylor Swift. We're thinking about our best friend.
No.
We're thinking about the things that matter.
No, I'm not thinking about none of that. Nick?
No, I'm going to tell you, those younger guys, whatever. No, I have not.
You said those younger guys, like you're so much older
But
than
I'm
them.
just telling you, guys are not sitting back. Yeah, ask 5 of the guys in this newsroom. Napoleon, when the last time you thought about the Roman Empire?
Never.
There you go.
Did you say the director's thinking about it, Charlie? Yes. Yes, like every day, Charlie? What's at least once a day? Okay, I need to know more. We're going to get Charlie on this show. Oh my God. Okay.
We're going to continue talking about this. Still a lot more to get to right here on Morning America. Let's get to the next hour. Okay, what you guys? The United.
And then this was Channel 7. So that was News Nation. This is Channel 7, Eyewitness News, which is the ABC, which is the parent company, something to do, I don't know how they do this in the business world, something to do with Disney, something to do with the alphabet, again.
Biden took the stage at the United Nations General Assembly, delivering an address to foreign dignitaries and leaders from around the world. His message, stand with Ukraine. But the president touched on several other subjects as well, including China, climate change, and artificial intelligence. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Birkin live outside the UN. NJ?
Out here on 2nd Avenue, where thousands have gathered to protest human rights abuses in Iran. This is one of several protests, as you know, that have been scheduled so far this week as the United Nations General Assembly gets underway. And as you said a moment ago, 90 minutes ago, President Biden took the world stage to give his third address to the UN General Assembly.
Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States of America.
President Biden came to the United Nations to urge world leaders to unite to face the crises of climate change and global conflict, using his speech before the General Assembly to pose a question.
And again, that color marble is incredibly important in New York.
I ask you this: if we abandon the core principles of the United States to appease an aggressor, can any member state in this body feel confident that they are protected?
Mr. Biden insisted that Russia's invasion of Ukraine poses a threat to all nations. World leaders, he said, must send a message to Russia.
Russia alone bears responsibility for this war. Russia alone has the power to end this war immediately. And it's Russia alone that stands in the way of peace, because Russia's price for peace is Ukraine's capitulation, Ukraine's territory, and Ukraine's children.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky was in the audience, but Russian leader Vladimir Putin was not. One of several world leaders to skip this year's General Assembly, along with the leaders of China, France, and the United Kingdom, who sent diplomats instead. Outside the United Nations, demonstrators took to the streets by the thousands, many to protest human rights abuses by the government of Iran. The Iranian president is expected to speak later this afternoon.
We're here to send a message that he does not represent the Iranian people. On the other hand, he is a criminal that should be prosecuted and held accountable for crimes against humanity and genocide.
And back now here, the live picture on 2nd Avenue, a very vivid demonstration taking place against the Iranian regime here. This demonstration extends from here, which is the corner of 2nd Avenue, 47th Street, all the way down to 1st Avenue. That entire city block is packed with people. Again, as I said, it's one of several demonstrations taking place this week as the UN General Assembly gets underway. The Iranian president, as we said a moment ago, expected to speak later this afternoon. The president of Ukraine could take the podium within the hour. Live on the east side, NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, NJ. So much going on, and what a beautiful day to do it.
Now, again, I can't confirm. I don't know the historical context, and I don't know. They have not taught in the series of rooms that I am in what that demonstration was outside of the UN. Again, I have not been brought up to speed on that. I do not have that level of education. But what I do know is while I'm here in Bayside, I was approached by someone, and I don't know how to handle that conversation that transpired. And then being in a park setting and having other residents using words and claiming to be certain things. And I mean, one person who's more patriarchal claimed to work for a company, but did not specify. I'm not going into detail, but then having other people say that they are, again, like the humans in the circumstance in the condition that I am in, say a lot of things. And I stand strong in my quiet. I do not speak. I do not confirm for them. I do not whatever, and whatever. But I don't know if that puts me in jeopardy with so much of this free movement of beings that again, when I grew up, the element that I experienced in this elementary school, and then the element that I was moved to for whatever reason, I was visited by a male who came one day in a big black SUV to join me and a couple of the girls from the elementary school I was going to. Not the day of the movie, different day. And he was related to somebody in that group, he said. And we were walking down the village in Huntington, a much nicer kept area than where I currently am. And he had said that when he was finishing his schooling, he knew he was going to be a doctor. And I said, is that what will happen with us? And I don't remember what the conversation was. But the answer was they have not given me papers to, so it's very confusing in this area. I don't know where he was going to school. It wasn't very clear, and it was a very, very long time ago. But I do know that he came to visit and walk with us. And he said that wherever he was going to school, that he would be a doctor, and that was the difference with wherever he was from. But again, at that point, we weren't learning like geography in any large, so it was kind of hard to even, I mean, it was one of these things where it was not planned. It's not like this really important person's coming to visit. You should prep for this walk for this day to meet this person, this male who's very important. There was none of that before. It was just that we were going out as a group of girls, and we got to just speak with him. But again, it's so hard because there's just so little instruction here. It's like it felt so protected for a while, but by what and by whom? And then like there was no guidance or instruction. And then when things didn't work out, there's just it just feels like it fell apart. So anyhow, so this is the flag system that I'm currently in, where they just made that thing that they were having. This is what I'm in, where they say that they're trying in New York City to take down this General George Washington and the Christopher Columbus, which again, there's something patriarchal about that, and I don't know whom to address or to speak to as far as contacts here. And even having gone to high school in 95 and 96 in this area, they did not give me like this lifelong contact that like while you're here in the city, if anything happens, this is your go-to person. This is who you call. This is who represents your patriarch. There's been none of that. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.